Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of my new Planet Coaster 2 series, where we will be building an implied realism park called Kings Equinox. So let's just jump right into this. So, yeah, we're still sitting at the globe at the moment. We haven't jumped into the game yet. But I just wanted to kind of give a brief overview of what this park is going to be. So, obviously, the name of the park is going to be Kings Equinox. That plays into some backstory and lore, almost, that I'm working on creating at the moment. But what this park is going to be is the term that I've heard a few times for parks similar to this, called implied realism. And it's essentially going through and building your park to have, realistic details, backstage stuff, backstage access for staff. The backside of buildings are going to have doors to get to the backstage. There's an actual operator's booths that are built for the coaster stations. Like all kinds of utility stuff that a lot of these, the higher themed parks don't really do as far as in the game. These things are present in the very high themed parks in real life. They are just, some of them at least, are just hidden very well. So I guess that's kind of implied when building a hyper-themed theme park. But for this, it's going to be very Cedar Fair, Six Flags, well, I guess now just Six Flags, inspired, as in the additions, the level of theming. You're going to be able to see a lot of the backstage stuff. It's going to be nice and well manicured, but also a little rough around the edges. For the story of it, what I've got, so far for the first little part that we're building is the park opened in 1980. It was by, like an oil tycoon, some businessman, some rich, person that has the money to go and build a theme park. I named him John Cook. I don't know why, I just did. And after visiting Kings Island with his family, he decided that he wanted to build something similar to Kings Island. So that's why it's called Kings Equinox. And the front entry area, not the big front entrance, that wasn't supposed to be like, oh, that's original to the park. But like International Street, because I'm going to be trying to build kind of like a rip-off International Street from Kings Island and Kings Dominion. That was supposed to be like, oh, he visited there, he liked that so much that he put it in his park. And there will be a Ferris wheel at the end, because he didn't want to put in an Eiffel Tower. More like, I just don't feel like trying to build an Eiffel Tower that won't actually work for the guests with a bunch of pieces, and called it the Eiffel Wheel. And then the first area that we're going to work on today, which is an Arrow Mega Looping Coaster, was going to be like, that was the first addition. This is the first thing the park put in, installed, big massive Arrow Looper, not heavily themed, claiming they would theme it up later, but the ride was so popular it didn't even need to be rethemed. And I know that something that people do sometimes is what they call a story park, where they essentially build the park and produce videos as if it's building, from the ground up, like it would evolve over time. That's not what I'm doing with this. I'm building it as if this park is in real life, and I'm recreating it in its current form in 2025. Then, as time goes on, if I have the room and decide to do it, I'm going to expand the park with further expansions. But we'll see later on, as I'm continuing to write the lore, and I'll explain it more later in later episodes. But Cedar Fair is going to buy the park, and we'll see, some of the additions, their budgets scale back, less theming, looking a little, more flatter. Trees are going to be less developed. I'm trying to build a story within the park without making an actual story park. But with all that being said, let's jump right into the park now. Alright, so after all that backstory, we're in the park now. And look at all what got done for this first little update here. But we're going to zoom past that, head to the back, and I want to show you what rides are going to end up being in this park in the end, or what I plan to have in the park. And I forgot to put one of my track rides down. So, let's see. Family Train. There we go. Yeah, this is for the kiddie area, obviously. Just place it down there. I don't feel like messing with it. But, okay. So, here's everything. And, yeah, it's a lot of stuff. So, obviously, Family Train. You saw me put that down. Parallelogram, some kiddie rides. Multiverse, that's going to be a family coaster. B&M Family Invert. That's for Snoopy area. PTC Woody, B&M Invert, B&M Sit Down, B&M Long Train Hyper, S&S Aero Launch Coaster, Premier Skyrocket 2, Mach Extreme Spinner, B&M Dive, Vekoma Top Gun, B&M Surf, Log Flume, Train, Carousel, this weird thing that just got taken out at Carowinds, Gerstlauer Skyfly, Nebula Z, Rotating Drop Tower, and Windseeker chair swing, Scream and Swing, and Larson Loop. But yeah, that's a lot of rides, including this one over here that we'll get to in a moment. So, implied realism. Park's got to have a parking lot, and this is not the final parking lot. It's going to get a lot bigger, and I don't have the terrain texture, and I'm not putting the path all the way out here, so I used this plaster piece, plaster wall piece all scaled up, and then it's just an art shape color, different colors, blue for handicapped, green for priority. This sidewalk's the same thing as the parking lot, and then I made some bollards, which are basically the things that keep cars from driving up onto the sidewalk and hurting people, and then white down here would be your standard parking, and then it'll expand in the other direction as well. But here is the Arrow Mega Looper and the front entrance. So we're going to get down to street view here, kind of. Probably not walk along the path yet because nothing got done, but these buildings will be your guest services and tickets, main front entrance, international street buildings here. We're not going to get any of this done in this episode. We're going to be focusing all on the parking lot and this area for the Arrow Looper. So the stations in this spot, some of the layout's going to change in the next update, but I'll show you that in a minute. So I painted the track more of a faded color. So it's supposed to be like when it opened, it was bright purple and bright blue with some nice clean gray supports, but those have faded. But the trains are still bright because they get serviced every year. But you start by a little pre-drop out of the station into a turn. Then you climb the lift 180 to 190 feet, which is about how tall Viper at Six Flags Magic Mountain is. Signature Arrow curved drop. Would pull some good forces there. Pull up into Arrow's janky vertical loops. High turn, drop down, another vertical loop. Both of these loops are custom, so I'm pretty proud of that actually, because these are like my first two custom loops in either Planet games. Two corkscrews, also custom. I had to make them big enough so that way they didn't pull too extreme G-forces, but I think the shaping came out pretty well. Up into this turnaround, and this is where things are going to change in the next update. But Magnum kind of esque airtime hill, pop up into a small helix, got to do some terrain, bunny hop, And then another hill, kind of like corkscrew. Kind of like Magnum's hills, into one final helix that rises up into the final brake run. Like I said, this is all going to change in a moment. And then we have the storage track here. I got to add the other part of the transfer track. And then the trains would go under the station for storage, which is something I've seen with a few of Arrow's coasters, specifically Iron Dragon at Cedar Point. Soon we'll have a PTC Woody going over here. That'll come, I think, probably more towards episode 3 or 4. But yeah, here's the first update. Next up's going to be getting this front entrance area kind of all fleshed out. So I'll see you guys in just a moment. So we have another decent sized update here as well. A lot changed, obviously. No more blocks on the ground over here. So, oh wow, it's really windy. I don't think I've set the weather yet. I'll have to do that in a moment. But yeah, the buses are here. That's my spawn point there. Nice planter. I don't know. I'm just really happy with how this came out. These stanchions actually block guest flow. The curbs don't, but these do. Those little stanchions that are disappearing there. But let's get into street view. Or peep view. Windy trees. We get a nice view of the Mega Looper Soundwave over there. But yeah, like I was saying, these stanchions actually block guest flow. Ticket booth. Very Kings Island inspired entrance, kind of. Very large sign, Kings Equinox. I actually didn't know what this park was going to be called until I decided to make the sign. Head over here. Oh, they're stuck. Yeah, nice planter, another ticket booth. Like I said, another little... That one's a bit of more scraggly planter. I thought this one would be a little bit more nice with some flowers and nice trees. This planter's kind of scraggly. Here's the implying that there is backstage with that little staff member access door, and we can't go beyond this point. So we'll pop out of here and look at all this backstage area. This is not going to get fully fleshed out this episode, but in here, do not enter, lockout required. And there's no fence. I was trying to put up a fence, but there's just too many tight turns and curves for me to mess with that. But I also kind of thought, like, the only time you're going to be getting a truck in here to offload trains from the storage area was going to be during non-operating hours anyway, so the ride's locked out. You don't need a fence. It's fine. If we have a smaller fence piece, maybe I will. But we got to get the station done for the looper. These supports are all custom as well for this loop here. Added in the connector pieces, and then the back half of the layout got changed as well. So it rises up into a bit of a more jankily shaped turn into the bat wing that has some good hang time probably. Little janky pop down there. A janky airtime hill. And the turn, I gotta lower the terrain. And then one more pop up into the brakes. A bit shorter, but more inversion focused. Extended the brake run. Just tried to, change the layout. I didn't like how it was before. But, I don't know. I'm really happy with how this Arrow Looper came out. But there is one more thing that I changed in the parking lot. So let's get down here. And over here, I removed some bollards and parking spaces and had this little area for the entry gate. Like, don't enter regular cars because there's going to be like trucks and stuff coming through here. But yeah, fencing up, don't die fencing all around. Gonna have to finish that off when we keep working on it. The next update's going to be fleshing all of that out, station theming, backstage, all that. So I'll see you guys in the next update. So here we are in the final update of the video. First things first, before we get into the Arrow Looper, I have a couple of bugs to show you. So if you head over to the corner of the map here, I don't think this recognizes this as a tree. Nope. Okay. So there are these trees that won't delete with multi-select or just by me clicking on them. Like, I click Y to delete them. There's no option to delete them at all. There's only these options here. But if I... Come on. Yeah, I know. Come on. Y, radial menu, opens up that, and then you can delete it. Like, radial menu, scale. Radial menu, scale. Come on, there we go. Delete. Yeah. So you can get rid of all these trees and crap that are sitting on the outside of your park if you don't want them there. Most of them that are floating. But, yeah. Okay, let's head over here to one more bug. So, there are these 3 blocks. This is small. That is the small block. That is the medium block. And that is the large block. That's clearly mislabeled, 1. 2, I get scaling, but it only scales down to like 60%. So, even with scaling, the small block still looks like the biggest block there. Just a weird bug, I don't get it, but let's head into the park now. So we'll head in through the entrance gates, past these buildings that I think we'll work on next time, and we have a gate here, and this is all custom wood plank gate. Oh, crash. But yeah, it's all custom. We can see the backstage back there. Custom fence, because we don't have, like, a privacy fence. And there's a look at it. I'm really happy with how this came out. And we're going to change the queue a little bit in the next episode as well to add in priority pass, but we'll mess with that later. Those blocks have got to go. I'll mess with that in a minute. But we have the Soundwave sign. That was a custom sign. Nothing too crazy. But we're heading into the queue now. Ooh, look at that. Look at the brake run. You know, a bit more scraggly, a bit more forested up in here. Got this wooden worn cover that takes you underneath the brake run and transfer track. There goes the coaster. This isn't meant to hide the transfer track. It's more meant to protect you from, like, anything like grease or whatnot that would fall from it. Then let's head up this ramp here. Gradual slope up to the station. Great view of the vertical loop and the coaster here as we head up. More don't die fencing. Coaster's a little close, but Get another good look at the... What the heck? I just fell. What? I don't... How? Like, how? Again. What the heck is this? I thought I wasn't supposed to fall off here. Okay. Let's try not to do it again. Stick to this side. Okay, we're good. Finally, in the station. Let's go. So, another good look at the coaster there. And out and around and down. Row numbers on the side there. Operator's booth all covered up. Bins on the other side of the station. Enough for each row, or each car. Like I said, row numbers. The station's going to change a little bit to allow for priority pass. But, okay, let's see. I think I'm going to jump out of the station here in just a minute. Lights in the ceiling. Yeah, there we go. I want to show you the exit and exit gift shop. So we'll head over here. A little look at the storage area door. Just basic and plain and simple. And yeah, and there's nothing in here. So we'll just ignore that. Just ignore that, but... These new I-beams work great for the transfer track. And, yeah, like I said, I'm just happy with how that came out, too. I'm really happy with how all of this coaster came out. I modeled it kind of after Carolina Cyclones. Transfer track at Carowinds. Completely fenced in, don't die fencing. Added some trees, some bushes, larger trees. So it's like, you know, this coaster's established. It's been here a while. Head over here. There's a look at the area. Got the gift shop and everything. Gonna have to finish up a little bit more next time. But also next time we're gonna be expanding out here with a wilderness area. A log flume and a carousel. Maybe another shop or two. And probably start work on International Street. But I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Stick around for some B-roll to end it out. And we'll see you all next time on another adventure.